Good morning, everybody. Alright, today is 13th of June. What's that, Friday morning? I see I got Christian here with me. Say hi, Christian. The camera right there. Just say hi.
Hi.
Alright, so it's one of the perks of doing local work is I can take him out with me and not have to, not really have to be on the road with them for more than a couple of days at a time before we get to be back at the house. Right now we're just on the just got west of Tracy, California. We're gonna make our way up Altamont Pass here in a second. On Interstate 580. We're about where the 205 and 580 meet up right at the moment. Okay, this guy is, he's moving over so I can come in. Yeah, that lane's exiting only up ahead, so. There was some kind of a traffic delay on 580 right here on the south end of Tracy. And my onboard was actually suggesting I take Crispin Road up from right there on the east end of Tracy. Take it up to, I forget what the main drag is there. And take that across until it runs right into 205. That's what I ended up doing. There was some kind of an incident. I don't know what the detail was though. But anyway. Yeah, so we're going to be, we're not going very far past here. We're going to U.S. Foods in Livermore. We're only 12 miles away right now, but it will take us a good 20 minutes to get over there. Figured, I'll talk about what we can talk about here and kind of give you the experience over there, I guess, because it's first time I've been to this particular customer. Oh, well, I've been to U.S. Foods before, but this particular location of U.S. Foods is the first for me. I have been to another customer off that same exit before, but it was, like I said, it wasn't the U.S. Foods. I'm going to go out, and we're going to be going right past that other customer that I've been to get to U.S. Foods, though. Proud partner of the Giants, Abbaslaw. All right. So this one we picked up out of the drop yard. It's just one pallet of, get this, plant-based hot dogs. Yeah, not even a 1,000-pound load of hot dogs. Now that's not the entire load though. One of our other local drivers delivered the rest of the load in Vernon a couple days ago, or yesterday or day before, whatever it was. I think yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning. And then Vernon, and brought it back to the yard, and now I'm taking it up here. So, but you would think that a short, only one pallet of the same product should normally be a quick and easy delivery. Not U.S. Foods. It doesn't work quite that simply. I'm not going to sit here and complain, no. Whatever time it takes, actually, if it takes 2+ hours, great, because then I can, that way I don't risk having my 14-hour clock run down before I get a chance to run back down to Southern Cal and hopefully finish my shift in, either at the drop yard or somewhere else, the house or close to home or whatever. That would be ideal. So, that won't hurt my feelings. Now, you see on the Google reviews, there are a lot of people who complain about, I only delivered 6 pallets and it took me 4 hours. So, you know that they're going to be slow. Yeah, I get how you're not going to get a Costco kind of experience from U.S. Foods, all right? I know their speed's going to leave something to be desired, but if you go there knowing that you're going to have to wait, plan ahead. Work them splits or something. It's not that big, I don't know. Well, in a way, I'd like to get moving more quickly, but at the same time, it's, I don't know. I don't know how to make, it's really, you don't know how wide things are the way they are, or why they're slow, or whatever. There's a number of reasons why that could be. I've talked about before, I believe, so we'll just let that sleeping dog lie. Anyway, let me get zoomed in over here so you can see. Yeah, see, we're still trying to pinch in with the 580 traffic right now, but going to be making our way up Altamont Pass here really soon. On the other end, there is a way station, down at the bottom of the west end of it. There's an exit right in front of it. Yeah, we're going to bypass that way station. Not because we're going to illegally try to avoid dodge the station. Why would I want to do that with the 700 plus pound load of hot dogs? No, actually, we'll be bypassing because our customer really is off that exit. Alright. So I know, my last video, I know I talked about some of the, a little bit about the experience so far with running locally now. With an extra week or so now of time under my belt, it's still a lot to work that I still have to learn, but for the most part, most everything I do either stays in San Bernardino, maybe Riverside, or LA County. And a lot of those deliveries, basically I'll deliver a load that's sitting in the yard, and then when I bring it back, I usually wash it out, fill it up, and then take it back over to Colton to drop it there, and then I'll pick up, usually I'll pick up a preloaded in Colton and take it back to the yard with me, and then whatever else needs to be done after that. So far, that's how my shifts have been going. I don't mind it. The traffic problems are the biggest issue, but I burn my clock, whatever. I'm still, the pay's decent. Not great, but decent. I think I've talked about that already before, though. So, no need to beat that dead horse. But I have had a few times already. This is already like the third time, I think, coming up here to Northern Cal. Or, at some point say, this isn't Northern Cal. You don't get to Northern Cal until you get past Sacramento. Okay, maybe. Because San Joaquin Valley and Bay Area basically is another way to put it. Or Central Valley. But so I had one come up here to Sacramento to the Rayleigh's Distribution Center, and then I think I came up here again. Didn't I have another one coming? I don't know. Maybe this is the second time coming up here. I feel like I came up here again for something else, not Sacramento, but somewhere in the valley. And now we're doing this Livermore. Anyway, there was definitely two times I've been up here, because I know last time I was up here, I picked up a Costco load out of Tracy and took it back down to Middle Loma. So absolutely, I have been up here twice so far since I've been running locally. I think this is Christian's second time running up here with me, so. The first time I was running overnight and wasn't sure how he was going to handle the really odd hours that I was going to be driving and sleeping or whatever. So, all right, we're making our way up Altamont Pass now. I'll let this guy get by. I think his lane's going to end here in a second. Does me no. It really does me no benefit to play buddy fucker with him and not let him in. We're going to be on time to our receiver regardless, so no need to worry about that. Alright, so yesterday You guys might have heard, yeah, I'm sure you heard about this, the first ever crash of a 787 aircraft in India. Ahmedabad, India, Air India flight. What was that flight number? 177 or 117 or whatever. I can't remember that number. Something along that line. It was on its way to London Gatwick Airport. Supposed to be about a 9-hour flight, and it crashed right after takeoff. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of speculation, of course, and you guys know my aircraft background, so that's why I do like to talk about this kind of stuff. There's still a lot of information I still need to get myself before I can really form any hypotheses, whatever. I can give you theories on what things could have factored into it, in my opinion. Definitely, bird strikes was one thing that I wondered about. However, I guess there's video that purportedly shows the engines. You don't see any kind of evidence of flameouts on the engines, which you normally, if the engine is going to get flooded out because of bird strikes, you'll usually see some kind of like black poofs or whatever coming out the tailpipes. Maybe even something out the front end because the compressor's stalling. It sounded like that did not happen though, so that kind of gives me less reason to think to like the bird strike idea. But it is, you have to think because of where they was during the takeoff phase, and they were barely in that air for very long at all. That it's then hey, is that a possibility? That needs to get looked at. Just because many bird strikes, floodings do end with the engine producing that visual evidence, it doesn't mean they always do. But now there was a person who was on the previous flight in from Delhi. Yeah, I think they were flying in from Delhi to Ahmedabad. They ended up posting on X or Twitter, whatever, that I guess there were some electrical outages in the cabin on the previous flight. Where they couldn't summon the flight attendants. The lights, the reading lights above the seats weren't working. I think they lost the air conditioning and stuff. And as soon as I heard about all that, I was like, that sounds like all the electrical power to the panel there, that the passengers use was lost. So my thought would be maybe a circuit breaker pop that gives access to that powers the circuit that those are all on. I wouldn't have thought it'd be. If they didn't seem to have any problems with landing the aircraft or whatever, I kind of left the impression that perhaps that was just a more coincidental, minor thing, but it definitely is something that needs to be looked into. And I don't know if I'm still, I haven't heard anything about whether that problem was evaluated before in between flights. Did the pilots even know about it? Or did the flight attendants or whatever write it up at the end of the flight or something? Who knows? Again, there's too many unknowns here. But the fact that the very next flight, here's something significant. So, a lot of airplanes these days have what's called a ram air turbine. Now, ram air turbine, or RAT, as we call it, is basically this impeller that sits up inside a cavity in the fuselage normally, and it ideally should never come out. If it does come out, that means you got a complete electrical system failure, and the rat will actually deploy. Like if you have an electrical power loss when there's not supposed to be one, the rat will deploy, and there's an impeller on the front. Depending on usually it could be the front end or the back end, but whenever the wind stream hits the impeller and spins it, and when it spins, it generates electricity to provide emergency electrical power, and only to the minimum systems required to keep the airplane flying safely. Just to help them get back on the ground safely. Really, it's all it's really intended for. So that thing was supposedly deployed, even though the aircraft just took off. Now, somebody in a Facebook group had raised a lot of questions about like why the aircraft did not take off from the end of the runway. I guess it took off from an intersection. It had like presumably hot weather. I've not checked the weather on it yet. I might check that later. But you can assume it was probably hot though. It was in the I think early afternoon when it took off, so more reason to think it was hot. But now 787s, they can fly a long way. Depending on the dash number, those things can fly 7, 8, 9,000 nautical miles. It's a long way. 9,000 nautical miles. What was that? Dash 10 or I think 787-10. You're getting close to literally halfway around the globe at that rate. All the way around the globe is just over 24,000 miles, and 1 nautical mile is 1.15 statute miles. So you're getting almost halfway across the globe, more than likely, at that range. And from India to and on top of that, with that length, that distance to travel, it's going to be 15, 16, 17 hour flight. Flights that I would definitely gladly never do. I love flying, but I don't want to, I hate flying on flights that long. They're terrible. I just don't sleep well on airplanes. I can't get comfortable, and it's just too much time cramped in that same space. I need to be able to move around more. Anyway, though, where was I going with that? I'm starting to focus on this guy in front of me right at the moment. Okay, we're a mile and a half away. Yeah, this Greenville Road and Laughlin Road we're going to get off at. Okay, well, the fact that the rat deployed is very telling that there's something seriously wrong with the aircraft. Either the engine's shut down, and they're doing it now. Somebody even mentioned like fuel starvation, but I have doubts about that. I seriously doubt there was fuel starvation. Now, because on all of these large airplanes, they always have some main tanks that, well, actually got a green light. So even if I were to go through that way station, I don't have to go through it anyway. Anyway, alright, shut up. Damn it, no, that freaking took me off my thought process there. Let me get zoomed in again for you guys. Okay. Now, large airplanes have several fuel tanks on them. They always have at least one tank on each wing that can gravity feed each respective engine, and then everything else is everything else requires fuel pumps to pump the fuel into from wherever it's coming out of to the engine. There is a possibility, it could have fuel starved, but especially early in flight like that, they could have been trying to supply it with like an auxiliary tank or something. There's a SUV coming. Oh, he's turning. Thanks for the turn signal, asshole. I would have gone earlier if you had your damn turn signal on, but I have to play guessing games. What you're doing? Anyway, let's just assume that we're able to gravity feed though from the main tanks. In that case, you're gonna get the fuel. You're not gonna stop that fuel from getting to that engine, but now the fuel has to have a way to get ignited too, though. So, and the electrical systems on the in the engine itself are what allow that to happen. Regular internal combustion engines have a spark plug, and on jet engines they'll have something. Well, it depends on. They use different terminologies, but some might call it a spark igniter. Okay, looks like I need to go this way. Yeah, the onboard wants me to go this way, but Google suggested straight ahead. But it does want me to turn left again, work my way back up to where Google just had me. But yeah, Mountain Vista Park. I'm just kind of curious. Sometimes this thing is pretty stupid. Good example, like just yesterday, I made a delivery to the Martin Brower / Golden State Foods facility in City of Industry. Now, my normal route is to take the 57 freeway down to Grand Avenue, which is the one exit that's in the concurrency between 57 and 60 freeways. And every time I go there, this thing wants me to go down to the 60 West after it splits from 57 and get off of Brea Canyon and take Brea Canyon back up. And I'm like, why the hell would I do that? That doesn't make it. No, that's not it. This street up here. And basically take some little spiral route. But I usually take Grand anyway. And then when I come across Grand, it tries to make me avoid the block of Baker Parkway that's just north of the one that my customer is on. And so I'm like, well, what's wrong with this one block of Baker Parkway? Because it's not a truck restricted route. So there are warehouses right there that trucks have to deliver to. So, figure that one out. I don't know. Alright, but just for the hell of it, I decided I'll go that way. I thought there was a questionable route up here before, like I think truck restriction sign or something like that. Last time I came over this way, one of these customers right here, I think, is where I delivered to last time. Okay, we're going to turn on to Lawrence, and I guess US Foods will be right there on the left. Hard to see with that sun there. Okay, yeah, it's definitely US Foods up here. I can see a US Foods truck and trailer in there. Let's figure out, okay, do I need to not park on, let's see if there, I heard there's a staging area here somewhere that I can park in. Let me ask. And I don't want to park on Lawrence because that. Morning, how you doing?
Here's your safety vest.
Yep.
Park your truck in those trailers on the left side or else all the way back. And then come back to me for checking. It's
Okay.
a cooler of frozen road.
Yeah.
So do you have ARP number on
trailers don't, no.
Check that. If it is there, get the picture of that.
Okay.
Then come back.
Okay, where's the...
You can park on the left side if you find a space, or else you have to go all the way back. There
Okay.
is open space, park here, and then come back.
Okay, so park among all these U.S. Foods trailers then, okay.
Me and Egon. Hey, that phone.
Yeah, I don't know why these Hirschblock reefer units don't have ARB numbers on them. It's always been something that bugged me for the longest time. Because it is a requirement in California to have them. JCT trailers have them, but Hirschblock trailers don't. And I'm gonna be pretty upset if I can't get rid of this pallet all because of a fucking ARB number that's supposed to be there but isn't. So I usually just give a bullshit ARB number if I must be honest. They're usually like a 9-digit number. I have a specific. I have an ARB number off of somebody else's trailer that I usually use if in this kind of situation. But it sounds like this guy might be a little more on the anal side about it. Gotta watch that trailer over there. Don't want to get too close to it. See, this is what sucks is my attention is so much on these trailers here that I can't give enough attention to the trailer that I'm putting in the spot or trying to park next to. There's a palm tree or something right there behind the spot too, so can't tell how much room I got. Alright, I think that should be good. Tail swing hit that trailer over there though. Let's see if I can aim toward the front end of this one first and then yeah, I'm trying to get the tail swing away from that other one before we get a little too far. Right on the other side of them. I'm gonna get my doors open. Now, what is this guy in 28 doing? Well, it helps. I can just get this guy to fucking bump his stock. Come on! That's why I fucking hate it when people do this shit. Open your fucking doors when you're not blocking the lane. I could have been docked in by now. That's why I open my doors where I open them, so I don't have to do shit like this and block other people from getting where they're trying to go. fucking kidding me? Almost there. Turn them in. Alright, don't need gloves.
Nope.
We're gonna put the wheel chock in place too, okay?
Okay. I do it.
Yeah, I'll show you how it works.
Yeah, I remind you to
Alright. Alright, well guys, we are done unloading. I totally forgot till already right now. We're still on the city streets. We're gonna be getting on to gonna get onto the eastbound 580 on-ramp here in a minute. It is 9:25. So well, we had a 7 a.m. appointment time. I definitely wouldn't call it fast, but it wasn't as slow as I expected it to be either. So there's that. Alright, I don't know, that's about all I got at the moment. Well, actually, yeah, I actually did some more research and discussion and stuff online about the Air India crash. And there's a lot of bad info getting put out there, but also some useful stuff as well. Like, people keep claiming that the flaps were not in the right setting, but it's not really likely that they were set at the wrong setting. It's a possibility, but just because of some low quality CCTV views, people get that impression. But the slats appeared to be fully extended in the crash footage, from what I can tell. So, and some people are also claiming that it did an intersection departure because that's what it looked like it did on Flight Radar 24. But just because it looks that way on Flight Radar 24 doesn't mean that that's really what happened. In reality, it actually did back taxi all the way to the end of the runway and take off from the end of the runway. That kind of a flight, it's going to need more runway than what it had to work with at the intersection that it supposedly entered the runway from. So, no, I'm not buying that. There was more to it than that. Great, this guy is going to buddy fuck, I think. Let's see. Anyway, yeah, I'm still inclined to think that perhaps the rat deployed, and if the rat deployed, that means there was a complete electrical failure. It means the engine-driven generators were no longer doing their jobs, and if they're not doing their jobs, they have to think that the engines themselves weren't turning either. It looked to me on the takeoff that it did actually establish a positive rate of climb briefly. But then all of a sudden, it's like it lost power, and we know they lost power because they declared a mayday and said they were losing power. And so, yeah, there's just, I've seen people, comments from people, oh, you're an idiot and this, that, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, but I was an aircraft mechanic for all those years too, because I don't know shit what I'm talking about, right? And yeah, I haven't had to deal with mishap investigations. The other thing though with that, I mean, because this guy, I looked into the weather. The aircraft departed on runway 23, which was about a 230 degree heading. And at the time, this was about 0800 Zulu, which is UTC, or because Ahmedabad is 5.5 hours ahead of Universal Time Coordinator, Zulu time. And it took off at 1:38 p.m. or 13:38 local time, which was just after 8 a.m. Zulu time. And the meter report for Ahmedabad at 0800 was showing winds of 250 at 7 knots. So it was a pretty good headwind. Now 7 knots will be a little bit south of 10 miles an hour, not far below. And and it's only off from the nose by about 20 degrees off to the right. So yeah, I actually had, because this clown was trying to tell me that I was an idiot and that it did an intersection departure and it took off with a tailwind on top of it. Yeah, because they do that. Especially when they know they got a 9-hour flight ahead of them. Yeah, that sounds very likely, dude. And then I was saying, this pilot, the captain had over 8,000 flight hours, and this freaking clown tried to tell me, yeah, that's only like maybe 2 years of flying or something, and so they didn't have much experience at all. I'm like, where do you get this shit from? These ATP pilots are actually, at least in America, the FAA limits ATP pilots to about 1,000 hours per year, or for any 12-month rolling period. So, kind of like my 70-hour 8-day clock. Any rolling 8-day period, I can only run 70 hours. And airline pilots are the same way. Any 12-month period, they can only run 1,000 hours. So, this guy had at least 8-9 years of experience minimum to get there. And even for an extra measure, I looked up Captain Sullenberger, Captain Sully, Miracle on the Hudson flight. That guy was very years of experience when it was about to retire when that flight happened. He had 57 years of experience by the time he retired. And you know how many flight hours he had when on the Miracle on the Hudson flight? Just under 20,000. So it just cracks me up, the shit that people come up with, make themselves sound like they're smarter than they really are. Right, dude. And I'm the idiot. Okay. Okay. Anyway. Alright, well, I don't have anything else really going on right at the moment. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a trailer move or if I'm going to end up going to Tracy to pick up a Costco load and bring it back down to Southern Cal or something else. So I guess I will see you guys see you guys later on, whatever I happen to be doing next. It'll just kind of be random, you guys. It's so much of what I do is either coming out of the drop yard or working its way back down in that direction, right? Y'all have a good day. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you guys next time.